So, good afternoon, everyone. A very great recovery in Nifty 50, especially 1.56% up, 22,678. And in fact, not only Nifty 50, the overall global sentiment is also very positive. If you look at the S&P 500, it's close to 2.9% up, and Nasdaq Composite is close to 4% up. So, to decode more about the market today, we have Mr. Arjit Garg, a SEBI-registered research analyst. So, Arjit, firstly, I welcome you and thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me, Pradhaman, and a very good evening to the audience. I hope everyone had a very amazing trading day today, given that the markets were positive after a very, very long time now.
Yeah, that is true. That is true.
Right. So
So,
let
Arjit, let's get started with the basic Indian indices and then let's move on to the commodities and global indices.
Absolutely. So the market had a very nice big positive gap up today. We saw a gap of around 2%, more than 2% in the morning today. Markets opened at around 22,800, But during the day, we saw certain news flows coming in and we saw a little profit booking during the day. And Nifty closed with gains of 1.56% at 22,670. Same was the case with Sensex, a very huge gap up, opened around 73,800. And during the day, there was profit booking came in, and then Sensex closed with the gains of 1.65% at 73,134. Looking at the top sectors, top gaining and the top losing sectors for the day, we can see that PSU banks, media, chemicals, metals, and bank Nifty were among the top gaining sectors. Now, let's quickly talk about Bank Nifty as well. If I can just load the chart for Bank Nifty right here. In Nifty, we saw that profit booking came in during the day. So open was high, and then the index, it slid down a little bit. But then if we compare it with Bank Nifty opened at around 51,460, 51,500, and it went up. It went up till almost 52,000, which means, as we discussed in our session last week, I remember we told that Bank Nifty was a space where people have to focus more because it's been banged hard, right, in the markets. Like it's been down for over 15 more than 15 trading sessions. We see that a lot of stocks have been underperforming. So now I think Bank Nifty was last week as well, and even now Bank Nifty looks like a sector where we can see more movement as compared to other indices, even the benchmarks. And there are a lot of reasons to it. Like a lot of banking stocks, they've entered the high beta zone. High beta matlab, if the Nifty is moving 1%, Bank Nifty or maybe the high beta sector, high beta stocks would move more than 1%, more than the benchmark index. That is what high beta indicates. So a lot of banking stocks and the banking index, Bank Nifty on its own, even Bank Nifty has entered the high beta category. So I think Bank Nifty is a place where people have to focus more rather than Nifty, Sensex, or any other index for that matter.
Got it. Ajit, since this is the start of the week, and in fact, forgot to mention at the start of the video, it's a new financial year. So, very happy new financial year to everyone and to you, especially Ajit.
Absolutely, a very new financial year. Today was a bank holiday in a lot of major states across a couple of states, right? So there was a banking holiday today, but the markets are open, and there is also a settlement holiday today. A lot of people do not know this, but 1st of April is a settlement holiday. So any trades that you might have taken would not be settled today. Any intraday trading margins that you might have used, those margins would be unlocked tomorrow.
That's right. And what a way to start off a new financial year.
Absolutely, positivity almost everywhere. I've got a couple of points which really tell us and which really give us more insights around what was the reason behind today's 1.5% rally and this huge gap up. If I can just begin with it.
Yes, yes, please, we are waiting for that.
Right. So there are three important reasons behind today's rally. Number one was the de-escalation attempt by US. So on over the weekend and over the holiday part that we have last couple of days, it's been more like a holiday. We just had one working day. So this entire 3-4 days, there have been a lot of escalation and a lot of de-escalation attempts for the Middle East war which is going on. So on Truth Social, Donald Trump has been tweeting and sharing a lot of insights around how they're proceeding with, leaving Iran and how they're proceeding to end this war very soon. One of the messages that they shared, I believe yesterday or day before yesterday, the message clearly stated that allies who are currently not allowing US to operate or do their Iran related operations from their home ground can very well go ahead and continue purchasing their oil from Strait of Hormuz, and the US is now looking to end the war with Iran even if Strait of Hormuz is not reopened. See, initially the US had this agenda that we need to, attack Iran because of Israel and the other related issues. Then mid-war, they changed their agenda that we want to open the Strait of Hormuz. That is why we are fighting. And now US is saying that it doesn't matter if Strait of Hormuz is open or it is closed. We are now pulling out of Iran. So this was the number one trigger that drove the markets to a big, it was a big positive for the entire market. We see global markets, we see the European market, Asian market, everyone is celebrating it, right? So that was point number one. The second point is the crude oil prices. If I can just load Brent crude over here. Right. So Brent crude, if you see, it was trading somewhere around 110, 112, right? If you just check it around, let's go a little back, around 19th of March. That was the time when we were almost at the peak of the war, right? 19, 20, 21st March. At that time, oil touched a high of $113. Brent crude. This is a chart of Brent crude. And we've been trading around that range, 100, 109, 110. Basically, the Brent crude was above 100 for a very long time. And as we have discussed earlier, Brent crude is a big negative. It acts as a catalyst for the market. So if crude is up, markets would not rally. Markets would stay under pressure. And now, just as that news came in that US is now willing to move out of Iran and they're looking to close this war now, as soon as the war, this news came in, the oil came down from 108, maybe below 100 or maybe around 100. The thing to note here is that oil prices are falling. So Brent crude is becoming cheap. And the same effect we can see that it is on crude oil futures in India as well. No, this is oil futures. Just a second. Right. So the same thing we can notice here in Indian crude oil futures as well. Crude was trading at what? It was around nine. It was almost around 10,000 rupees. But then, as soon as the news came in, crude fell down. However, we did see a good rally in crude again, but this rally is not supported by volumes. The volumes here is empty. So this rally will again fade and the crude prices will come down, right? So we all know, right? So Brent crude, it comes down to again, then the rally is forwarded to crude oil and then it comes down to the Indian market. So that cycle has to be complete. So Brent is falling, crude has begun to fall, it will fall more, and then this will impact on the Indian market and the markets might see positivity in the upcoming sessions, right? Another key point is that the March session ended on 30th of March. 30 March was the expiry for Nifty because 31st was a holiday yesterday. So when we saw the expiry, a lot of positions were automatically cut off because maybe people were expecting the markets to fall, but maybe उनके target hit नहीं हुए या फिर उनके stop loss नहीं आए. The trades were not closed. There were a lot of open interest. There were a lot of open positions. तो अब उसका क्या हुआ? All of those positions, as soon as expiry happened, March की expiry हो गई, contracts expired, they're closed. So the positions are also closed. So April, when we entered the April contract, today is the first day of the April series, and if we see here in OI, we'll see very, very small candles, barely 34,000 open contracts in call side. Put side, we have only 22,000 open contracts. The PCR is around 0.9, 0.6. So this shows us that there are not a lot of volumes in the futures and options contract, which is acting as a positive for us because there's not a lot of speculation in the market, right? So the 3 points are: first, the geopolitical tensions which are easing down; the second one is the crude oil prices that is falling, and the third point is we are entering a new expiry, a new month, right? So all of this new series we are entering it with low positions, low volatility. So the markets are, automatically the markets would come up because we're already in the oversold zone. Now, what's important from here is what are the things do we have to watch for tomorrow, right? So we know that आज तो
Right.
gap up हो गया. Will the gap up sustain? Will we see an up move again, or will we see a down move again? Because we're in the middle, right? The resistance was at 23,000. The next support is at 22,500, 22,300. We're exactly in the middle. So it's a 50-50 chance. 50% कि ऊपर जाएगा, 50% chance कि नीचे जाएगा. So what exactly happens here? What are the things that we have to look for? There's just two things that we have to look for importantly. First is the crude oil movement. Crude oil हमने देखा था, Indian crude oil is rising, Brent crude was falling. Now there are two things that can happen. Brent crude या तो वापस से the Brent crude will start rising, and the crude oil जो Indian crude oil है it will also catch up, and ये भी it will also start rising. This is one thing that can happen. Or the other thing that will happen is Brent crude will keep falling, it will stay near 100 or maybe below 100, and Indian crude oil will follow. This will act as a positive for us. If this happens, expect markets to cross 23 and 23 100 in the upcoming sessions. But if that does not happen, if crude goes on, rises again, or maybe some uncertainty happens again, then I believe the markets might stay under pressure. This is point number one. The second thing to watch is Donald Trump's address to the nation around the Iran war, which is happening as per Indian timings 6:30 a.m. tomorrow morning. So कल good morning हमारी थोड़ी जल्दी हो जाएगी. We'll have to wake up early for that. So that is second thing that we have to watch. Now, Donald Trump का क्या है ना? Donald Trump he messes up almost every time he comes online. 90% of the time he messes up on Truth Social. Whenever he comes up, he just thinks of something that I have to say something. He just opens his app and just tweets and just messes up the entire global markets. The other way he messes up is through journalist interviews. He goes into interviews, he does random press conferences, and the journalists there, they just ask him random questions, and then he have to think out of the box, and then he messes up. And the last way he does that is through scheduled calls, scheduled conferences like the one we have tomorrow morning. So what happens tomorrow? Does he maybe call a ceasefire on the war, or does he say that we are going to proceed with ground troops in Iran? What happens next? This is something that we have to watch. So two important triggers. We have to watch the crude oil movement, and we have to watch what happens tomorrow at 6:30 a.m. press conference by Mr. Donald Trump. These two things will tell us what will happen in the markets tomorrow.
Perfect, Ajit. In fact, Trump would definitely tell, thank you for attention on this particular matter, for giving a detail on. Now, moving on, can we look at the sector analysis for today? Sector as in stocks as well.
Sure. So the top stocks we have already seen were the top sectors we have already seen. The top sectors were PSU banks. We had chemicals, metals, media, and Bank Nifty. Let's quickly look at the top gaining sector stocks for the day as well. So we have from banking, since Bank Nifty was among the top gainers, we have SBI here, we have Axis Bank. HDFC Bank was also up around 1%, but SBI stole the show today with gains of 3.92%. From other sectors, we also had auto numbers coming in, the monthly numbers that come in from Maruti and all the other auto sectors, M&M, Ashok Leyland. So we had some movement there in the auto stocks. So we can see Maruti, M&M with gains of 2.6%. We also saw, because gold and silver, they're seeing some rally now. People are expecting that because they did not rise much during the war. So now people are expecting, now that things are de-escalating, maybe at that time gold or silver might show some rally. So that is something which is leading to a rally in stocks like Titan. And apart from that, we also have L&T, Adani Group. They also have rallied. So among the top sectors and top stocks, I believe this is the heat map that I think people can watch for. Talking about individual stocks. So we had talked about grow in one of our last sessions. And if we see, we are again around the level that we had talked about. This was the level which we have marked earlier. And on the higher end, we had 174 marked on our charts. So 166 is approaching real fast in grow. People who have not added it in the portfolio, maybe if everything goes well tomorrow morning, maybe tomorrow might be a good opportunity to add grow in their portfolio. Apart from that, if you look at the auto numbers, if you look at details, we'll dive deeper into the details at the end of the day. But from the overview that we have, almost every month we are seeing good growth from Maruti and Mahindra. So Mahindra was a stock that we had talked about in last couple of weeks as well, multiple times. A lot of people have been talking about it. Today, let's talk about Maruti. Maruti Suzuki is okay for the users. Chill. I know it's expensive. It's 12,000 rupees a stock, but just have a look at it. Just look at the pattern that it has created here. It's stuck in this range over here. It tried to break the range today, but it failed. Now, given that the auto numbers are coming good for it, and now when all of the investment bankers and all of the analysts, when they dive deeper into what actually the numbers are talking about, how is their passenger vehicle sales, maybe we can also dive deeper into model wise sales. Is Swift selling more, or is Ignis selling more? Is Wagoner selling more? We can dive deeper into that as well. So that is what I'm talking about. That at the end of the day, when we sit with the numbers, when we go and analyze them, that is when we can get exact details about it. So until then, Maruti Suzuki looks quite good on the charts. It looks like that we're creating a bottom over here. We are touching the lows of 2025 August and September. That was the time when Maruti was facing a lot of fundamental pressure. So we are around that level again. So I believe it's almost around the oversold zone. People can add the stock from here for a target of 13,000 as the first target, and maybe they can extend the targets up till 13,800. Once we cross 13,800, then we can revise our targets again for Maruti Suzuki in the upcoming weeks.
Got it. Arjit, if we have to look at the global markets as well, so what do you think about the overall sentiments there? I mean, like, yeah, yes, it is positive, but if you compare it with the Indian markets, the US markets are much higher, almost two times the gains.
Absolutely. See, US markets, why are they rising? Again, because we already know there are a lot of protests going on against the entire the President Trump and their rules and regulations. There are a lot of protests going on. Disputes are there among the citizens and the political part. That is different. But the thing that we know here is that the citizens and the markets and analysts, they're not very happy with how things are coming out and turning out for the US right now. So if this war carries on and if it proceeds, it might. I'm not a political analyst here, but what I can connect the dots and what I can get the gist of the entire situation here is that US is not really winning in this war. So if things really continue, maybe US might have to accept its loss, and then maybe things might not turn out a lot good for the Wall Street. So I believe that is the reason why even a little hint of ceasefire or a little hint of that the war is de-escalating and things might get back to normal, a little hint about that is also making the traders and investors happy in the Wall Street. So that is why we are seeing huge rally. We are seeing the futures are trading at with gains of 2.91%, 3% rally in Nasdaq and S&P. Even European markets, we are seeing at least 1.5% gains overall. We are seeing FTSE with 1.8%, CAC 40, which is the French markets, around 2% gains, German markets 2.3%. So I believe overall the entire sentiment is positive because people are expecting the US to end the war now. Like, come on, it's over. It's been over a month now. Let's end the thing. So this is what we're expecting from the morning statement as well. And as I've said already, the morning address that we have from President Trump at 6:30 a.m., that is what will really tell us what should we aim for tomorrow. Because another thing to note, tomorrow is Sensex weekly expiry, and it is also the last working day for our week because Friday is Good Friday and it's holiday again. So tomorrow is the last day for the week and it's expiry. And then morning, may we already have a lot of uncertain events coming up. So tomorrow, I believe, is a day when you should not really trade because today was a settlement holiday. So you'll get your funds tomorrow. So the best thing to do for tomorrow's market would be to just wait and watch what's happening, spectate it, sit with popcorns and just watch where the market goes. Try not to invest because tomorrow would not be an investing day. Tomorrow would be a gambling day. You even if say let's suppose if Donald Trump says that we are entering Iran with ground troops and we are deploying nuclear energy planes and we are escalating things a lot, the markets would open with a gap down. It would destroy the sentiment for Asian markets, and the Asian markets again tell us how our markets would come up. So Asian market destroy hua, so our market automatically will open with a gap down. that would destroy all of your plans, all of your positions. Right now, you're thinking, okay, we are on a gap up. If everything goes well, maybe I'll plan this. You'll prepare your plan, you'll invest all of your energy, time in there. But if something goes wrong in the morning, it's all destroyed. Your time got wasted, your paper, ink, your energy, everything was wasted. So, the best thing to do right now is just sit back, relax, wait and see what happened at 6:30 in the morning, and then decide what you have to do now.
That is right. In fact, that is a very smart analogy connecting the global dots with the Indian holidays and everything. So really perfect.
Absolutely.
Ajit, I think today's session was really amazing, and we'll look forward for more such market intelligence and insights from you.
Absolutely. Just before we leave, let's quickly look at the open interest as well. We did look at it, but just to get a heads around what might happen tomorrow in the market. So we are seeing that the call OI is more than the put OI, which means there might be long unwinding happening here, right? So people might be exiting their long positions. There might be a little a little down move we can see in the market tomorrow. A gap down is not like we cannot predict a gap down or a gap up, but the market might be under pressure tomorrow. Now, again, exact thing would unfold as the markets open tomorrow at 9 a.m. But before that, just looking at the option chain, the data is not very positive. So even if some of the users, if you guys are really putting in the effort and the time to create your strategies, don't look for an upside. Try to plan your trades for the downside. We already have the levels marked for you on the chart: 22,500, 22,300, and 22,100. Look out and try to plan your trades around that. Maybe we can see those levels coming in the next trading session. कैसा होगा क्या होगा वो तो हमें कल ही पता चलेगा, but we can just have our like the direction checked, right? So the direction is downwards, the trend is negative. Sell on rise is a strategy that we have to implement in Nifty until unless we have any external trigger in place.
Got it. Got it. Very smart analogy once again, and we look forward for more such market intelligence from you. Let's reconnect tomorrow exactly at 4 p.m. and have a complete breakdown.
Absolutely. And before we end, a very happy new financial year to all of our
Yes.
investors and traders. We really wish that you guys have a very good, prosperous, and profitable year in the coming days.
Great. Perfect. Thank you. Thank you so much, Ajit.
Thank you so much.